به نام خدا. شعری از پدر بزرگم رو تقدیم می کنم به تمامی معلمان عزیز و گرامی. مقام معلم. کلام و درس معلم مرا سرور دهد. نوای نای معلم مرا حبور دهد. همیشه بنده و عبد معلمی هستم که همچون ماه به شبهای جهل نور دهد. به خاک پای تو جان ای دلیل راهگشای، چو شمع آب شوی قطره‌ات ظهور دهد. تمام خرمی باغ سبز دانایی ز تو بود که چو باران نشاط و شور دهد. به مرز حادثه اندرز و پند و صحبت تو مرا نجات دهد، از خطر عبور دهد. کلاس درس تو میدان عشق و ایمان است. سخن بگو که کلامت مرا سرود دهد. تلاش همچو تو آزاده‌ای مظفر باد. ثواب و اجر تو را ایزد غفور دهد.
Hi, we are going to be making some focaccia bread, homemade and easy to make. Let's go and start. So, we are going to have some water. It's with boiling water and some boiling water and just some cold water, so it'll be warm. So I'm gonna put my fingers in. It should be warm, so I won't burn. So we're gonna put a cup of this warm water. Just gonna add it to a bowl. You can see a little bit of steam, that's good. And we are going to take 2 packets of fast rising yeast. My favorite is Baker's Corner and it's highly active. So this is one of the best options. Hopefully if you can find it, try Aldi's, they have it. Okay, so we are going to be using 2 packets of this. Okay, so we're gonna be using 2 packets of yeast. So I'm just gonna flick it a little, which I just did. And we're just gonna open it up so it'll just go in. Okay, so that is 1 packet. We're using 2 packets because it's gonna rise faster and it's gonna have more bread than just 1 packet. Okay, so then we are going to be doing another packet. And we want it to be active, so yeah. Okay. So now that we have put in our packet, it does make it better for rising. It takes less time, so we're just gonna mix it. And since when it starts to bubble, then you know it's ready. So just gonna mix it. If it doesn't start to bubble in 10 minutes or 15 minutes, it's probably expired or that one is just not a good brand. So we still have some clumps and it's not really activating. So we are going to be adding a teaspoon of sugar.
And only a teaspoon, nothing else, right?
You can put a little more if it doesn't start to
Activate.
activate. Okay. And so we're just gonna mix it. Get all the clumps out. Put it on the side so that it will have no clumps, and then we're just gonna whisk it a little more. And that is our activated yeast for focaccia bread. getting the rest of the clumps out because we don't want any clumps in our bread. Not very delighting. So now we are going to be adding 4 cups of flour. So might seem a lot, but it's worth it. I'm gonna use half cups so I can get the flour better. So I'm gonna have to do 8 of them. So did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just flattening it out so I get it evenly. 6, 7, and our final 8. Okay, so now we're done with the flour. Just gonna put it aside. And our yeast is ready. Okay, so I'm just gonna mix it up so it still has some clumps. It kind of looks like when you're in the shower and then you haven't showered and it's like all the dirty stuff are in the water, so that's kind of how it's supposed to look. Kind of like this. So I'm just gonna whisk it a little more and we are going to add it to our flour. Okay, so that's that. And we're gonna put this aside. And we need a pinch of salt, about a teaspoon. So about a teaspoon, and don't want to put too much because we are going to add some later. Okay, so that's that. And we are just going to mix it with a spoon. I suggest not to do it with a whisk because then it gets all clumped up inside and that is not very good. Okay, and now that it kind of is really floury, so that's not really how we want it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add another cup of that warm water. If it gets kind of cool, then just add another one. Just do it again. So gonna add another cup. So that's about a half cup, so I'm gonna have to do another half cup. So I'm gonna do this first cup to get it all mixed up, and then I'm gonna add that one after. So okay, and then adding a little bit more. Okay, so that's about another cup. And we're just gonna mix it. If it is clumpy, then add some more flour or you're gonna get your hands mixed up. Oh, oops. Okay, so I'm just gonna use my hands. Don't like press inside like that. Just wanna like make it connected. So you see here, it's like a rub. So that is not how we want it. So we're going to add a little bit more water. So I'm just gonna pour the rest of it in. And if it does get kind of wet, then just mix it because the rest of it probably is not that wet. Okay, so it looks okay. Still gotta mix it for a few minutes. Okay, so what has happened is I did it, and as you can see, my hands are oily. I did add olive oil, and And so I just used olive oil, and now it's the perfect consistency, and I got rid of all the lumps. So now what is going to happen, and you see it says avocado oil. I crossed that out because we are reusing the bottle, so we just put olive oil instead of having avocado, but you could use avocado. So I just prefer olive oil, and we are going to grab about a fourth of a cup, and we are going to put it, and then that's about this much, and we're gonna rub it around the bowl. I put the dough in another bowl so that while I am in this bowl, so while I am greasing this up, and as you can see, there's still some clumps, it's fine. The dough's gonna go back in so that when I put the dough back in, when it rises, it's not gonna stick to the bowl. So really want to get our hands dirty. Don't worry. It's gonna be yummy, even though it looks like a lot of oil. So you see this clumps? It's fine. Don't worry about them. So now all the sides are practically all oiled up. Okay, all greasy hands, it's fine. Now we are going to add the dough. If you feel like your dough is going to stick to your bowl, then just put some oil. So then we're just gonna play with it a little, the fun part, okay? And we are getting rid of the excess clumps and just sticking our hand in there. You see there's oil on the rim. That's exactly how we want it. If you cannot see oil, then that's bad news, so go get some oil. Okay, so we are going to be adding some plastic wrap, and we're just gonna, if it doesn't cover, then it's fine, because we're gonna as well add 2 of them, so don't get all panicked out. So just gonna make sure one side is all nice and sealed up. So we're just gonna like push it down on the rim so that it looks all nice and flat. Then we are going to get another piece. Make sure that it doesn't get like all crinkled up, because then you can barely even use it. So just gonna, because there's a seam, so I can legit just put my hand. So we are going to cover that up. Now that it is all covered and it is all sealed up, we are going to put it, we're gonna put a towel on top, and we are going to put it in a warm place, which one of the warmest places in the kitchen is over here. And we're gonna let it rise for 3 hours. Okay, so we let it rise for 4 hours instead of 3. You can leave it overnight, but you have to put it in the fridge or else it's gonna turn sour like sourdough. And you want it to puff up a lot, so now this is some yummy dough. So you have to line your sheet with parchment paper and add some oil. So it's about like this much, and you're just gonna spread it all over and make sure you get like all the edges, because you don't want your bread to stick and then you will just like be wasting a lot of bread, which we don't want. So we're making it very oily, which it's okay. So now that we have our sheet all lined up, this is about smaller. This is about not too big of a pan. It's like a medium pan, which is great. And yeah, so we are going to grab the dough. It looks very puffy. which is how we want it. So we're just gonna oil our hands first because we don't want the dough to stick, even though it already has oil. So hands all oily, we're grabbing it, we're kind of pushing it in, we're making it into like a blob, and then with our hands, we like make sure, okay, so this is about a half, and we're just gonna squeeze it. And we're gonna grab one end, and that's how much is gonna go on the pan. So we have to be kind of patient, and we're just gonna spread it out. This is the fun part, kids. We're just putting some holes in so it'll give really the form and shape of focaccia bread. So you're just poking your fingers in. It's okay if you have some holes, which is fine. We are going to let this rise. Okay, so we're gonna add some salt, a little like sea salt, so a little bigger. So we're just gonna sprinkle it, and you want to keep track so you don't put too much. And then, so that pan's ready, and now we want to keep an eye on where we're going, or else we might not put enough, or we put too much. Okay, so this is done, and we're gonna let it rise for 30 minutes, and yeah. Okay, so after about 20 minutes, since it already had rised another hour, it looks good. So they still have holes, which is great, and I preheated the oven to 420 so that a few minutes before. So now we are going to put the dough inside of the oven for about 20 to 30 minutes. And then just check on it every like 10 minutes. Okay, so after about 17 minutes, our bread is ready. It looks delicious, and we don't want to burn ourselves because the temperature is really hot. So I thought it would take longer, but I realized that before I had done it when the temperature was a little lower, and the temperature is really high, so you really don't want to burn, and it's gonna cook faster. So it is ready, and you do not want to cut it before, like right when it comes out. So you have to leave it for 10 minutes and then cut it. So if you do cut it and this time, what's gonna happen is that you cut it. Okay, so we're cutting it, and then we eat it. Oh, it's so yummy, it's warm, everything like that. And then once we're gonna eat the other pieces, we're like, ew, that's like really dry. That's because once you cut it, all the steam comes out from the bread, and then all the moisture just comes out, so it's really dry bread. So just leave it for 10 minutes and then come back and eat your bread. I just cut up the bread, and it's really nice. Nice slice, ready for eating, perfect for snacks. Oh my god, that is amazing. You should definitely try with it, and it's gonna be gone like that. Super good. You can add rosemary on top, fresh or frozen, and then you can also add different toppings to make your different focaccia bread. Bye, hope you try it.